Yummy.
Is it eatable?
Yes.
Welcome to Whippoorwillholler. I'm Miss Lori, and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook, and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. Well, Danny had a doctor's appointment this morning, and I'm going to get a roast done here in the Instant Pot because I can get it done in about an hour or so because he'll be going and taking care of his mom today. So they'll have some supper. I'm just browning it right now on both sides. Seasoned it up. I'll put some onions in there and some first I'll cook it for about 30 minutes. Then after the pressure goes down, I'll open it up. Then I'll put my potatoes and carrots in there and whatever else vegetables I want in there. Then I'll turn it on for another 30 minutes so that it gets at least a good hour cook time and the meat will be really tender. But if I put the potatoes and carrots in there for a whole hour, they tend to get too mushy. So that's the reason I do it that way. So anyways, I'm just kind of browning it on both sides. I'm going to turn the saute off though. And cut up an onion. So how has y'all's morning been already? You know, it's such a pretty day here today. The sun's shining, but it is so cold out there, and I'm not going to complain because there's so much going on in the world right now. People are just getting stomped with snowstorms and, you know, all these fires. And so I'm just not complaining. It's a beautiful day. I'm just going to put it that way. But it's just a little bit colder than I think that warm air that come in kind of spoiled some of us. That's for sure. We need to keep everybody in our prayers that's going through so much with this weather and the storms and everything that's going on. That's for sure. Let's see. I need to find me a... So I just put a little bit of water on the bottom just to kind of get that bond off the bottom, because when you're using your pressure cooker, you don't want that stuff stuck on the bottom because the heat won't come up right and all that stuff. I think I'll turn it back on that. I'm trying to keep from having to take my meat out of here, but I may end up doing it. But I just want to get that crispy stuff from browning it. I'm wanting to get it up off the bottom. Not only is it going to give this roast a good taste, but it'll keep it from not wanting to heat up right. So anytime that you saute or brown anything in the Instant Pot, you always need to put some kind of liquid in there and get that fond off the bottom so that your, ooh, splashed myself, so that your heat's correct. Otherwise, it won't be. And I learned that the hard way the first time. I'd never had one before. Of course, I had the old-fashioned pressure cookers that you use on top of the stove, just like Grandma always had. But I think I browned up a bunch of stew meat. I guess I just wasn't thinking. First time I ever used it, and I forgot to go in there and get that fond, that crispy stuff, that fond off the bottom. And I mean, it had it. It had a lot of it from me browning that stew meat. And I put everything in there, and in fact, I think I had guests here, and I just filled this thing full of stew meat and vegetables, and turned that thing on. It never did come up to pressure, and I thought, what's going on? Well, it's because that from browning that meat with that little bit of flour and seasoning, it just covered the bottom of my pot here, and the heat wouldn't come up right. And I know that with regular cooking, but I just guess I just wouldn't think about it here in the Instant Pot. But anyways, I learned my lesson that. Like I said, I'd never had an Instant Pot before, so it was my first go around with an Instant Pot. I guess I had to turn the light on over here. I'm just going to put a small onion in there. Turn my saute off now. I just put about a cup of water in there because the meat's going to put off a lot of juice anyways. Like I said, I'm not going to put my potatoes and carrots in here for right now because I don't want them to turn to mush, because I do like to, in the Instant Pot, I do like to cook my meat in here for at least an hour. Oh, that's why this is sitting out. I had a request. I want to know if I would show how I make my Lipton onion soup mix. Well, I did. I had run out, and there was something I was making that I had to have some, so I picked some up, and of course it had 2 packages in the box, and this is one of them. So we're going to be making some homemade Lipton onion soup mix, and I'm thinking that we'll make a Blackberry Cobbler. We'll probably do that next, get that done, and then I think we'll just talk about what I'm doing in the garden right now. I picked out some new flowers that I'm going to be planting this year, and I thought y'all might be curious about that because I know a lot of y'all that watch me love flowers just like I do. Y'all like a cottage garden just like I do. Okay, I'm going to put, don't say nothing, but I'm going to go ahead and put half a stick of butter in there, and then when I put my vegetables in there, I'm going to cut the other half and put it on top of my vegetables. I love a good roast, and beef is so high right now that we don't have roast very often anymore, and we haven't been able to purchase a half a cow in the last couple of years because in this area you could do it very easily, and we do have markets that have fresh beef that you can go buy. Now it's not always going to be organic, so we got to kind of get thinking that that's the only way we're ever going to go, because it just don't work that way, y'all. Even if you find somebody that you can buy half a cow from, don't mean that they were raised and fed on only organic feed, or the pasture that they were raised. There was nothing, everything about it's organic. It's just not feasible in this area. People can't afford organic from the very start to the end. And I know that because, we've raised our own cattle. We've raised, our own chickens, our own hogs. We know how much it costs and what it takes to raise your own meat. We've done it all of our life, and our parents and grandparents for us. So sometimes it's hard to be so perfect on that stuff, but you can do the best you can with what you can afford. That's for sure. But anyways, this roast I had found on sale. I had got to the store just in time when they were putting stuff on sale. So I'm putting my top on here, and I'm going to put this on manual, and I'm going to put it for 30 minutes. And then I'll come in and put my veggies all in there, and I'll cook it for another 30 minutes. So anyways, that's the way I do mine. And I'll have it done before he gets back from the doctor, probably. He's just going for a checkup. He has to do that like I do about every 6 months. We have to go in. Danny has, of course, I don't have a thyroid anymore, and that's a whole thing I would love to discuss with y'all. But I don't know if anybody really be interested in it. But because I do suffer from several autoimmune diseases, and sometimes it can get you completely down, but I refuse to let it, so I just keep it going. And Danny found out that his thyroid was not functioning the way it should. Not that it was anything really, really, bad at that. I think they caught it in time, but he was having issues. Y'all probably don't want to hear this right now, but I'm just going to tell you since he went to the doctor. He was having issues like he'd walk to the chicken house and back and he'd be out of breath. It was just stuff like that. So he went through all these tests for his heart and everything, and nothing would come back showing anything that was wrong with his heart. Well, a specialist come in, and the doctor has sent him to the specialist. She come in, and I forget where she was from, Germany or somewhere. And the first thing she did is she said, "Has his thyroid been checked?" And of course, I'm looking at Danny, and I've already got all these issues. And Danny said, "No, he hasn't. My doctor hasn't checked my thyroid." She said, "I want his thyroid checked." Well, they did, because I couldn't understand what was going on with him, since all his heart, all them tests come back fine. His blood pressure wasn't like through the roof or nothing like that. He's always had decent blood pressure. Danny, considering him being broke down with his back and his knees and his hands, that's from many years of hard work, is what that's from, mechanicking and stuff. But he's in pretty good shape, y'all. But so they did, and it come back that the levels were just a little bit low on his T4. I don't know about his T3, T1, all that. I don't know. That's something else that I've got to talk about. But so it wasn't functioning fast enough for him. So you don't realize how much your thyroid controls so much of your organs, your bodily function, and how when you've got issues, it changes your whole life. I'm not going to get into mine. I think that would probably take a whole video. And but I can tell you, it was about 5 years of probably the worst time of my life, going through all that. And if y'all would like to hear that, maybe, y'all going through the same thing, y'all just let me know in the comments. I mean, I don't want to make a video where I'm, just talking about my health issues, unless, people want to know. And if I thought it could help somebody, of course I would. My struggles are every day. I have a lot of struggles every day because of my autoimmune diseases. Like I said, I've got several. And I have no thyroid left. They took it completely out. So what that does, it causes me to take a certain medication every day of my life. If I didn't take it, I wouldn't survive. So anyways, going back to Nanny, they got him on a very low dose of Synthroid. And of course, you can go down the rabbit hole with all that, knowing that, that's not good for you. No. We all know this. And we all know that there's stuff out there, all natural, that can help, but you have to be careful with that stuff, because if you're not doing the right amount, you're not doing any good for your body. If I didn't have my Synthroid take every day, I'd be laying down in the floor. Let's just put it that way, because I have no thyroid. To keep me functioning, I have to have this and take it every day. I take I take 100 milligrams a day, where Danny's just like 5, I think. But mine was hyper. I had a hypo, and what it done is it was so bad that it killed my thyroid. So they had to remove it. Now, they went ahead and removed it for sure, because to make sure there was no cancer. So it come back that there was no cancer. And so from that point on, life has been a lot different. So that's why he has to go like I do every 6 months, and we have to, do blood tests, and we have to test everything. So that's just what that's all about. I don't want y'all to be worried about him that something's wrong, because it's not. So this is coming up to pressure. But anyways, we're going to make a Blackberry Cobbler. I know there's probably a lot of reason why some of y'all are here. I've had some comments that people get sent. Well, not very many, y'all. My community is so good to me. Y'all are here to spend time with me in my home, and what I do in everyday life. And y'all don't know how much that means to me, Mr. Brown. But every once in a while, I'll get a comment like, I'm here for the recipe. Can you just shut up and do the recipe? And pretty much what they're telling me. And I just delete it, because, I understand, but then that's not what my channel's about. Um, it's a lot harder than that. I don't do, videos where it's just showing my hands and you don't have to listen to my voice and, stuff like that. That's easy. That's easy. But a lot of y'all are here because y'all are here to come into my home with me, and me just share what I'm doing, recipes, my everyday life that I've done all my life, and that's why y'all are here. So if you're here for this recipe, you can just zoom on by, go to the recipe, and zoom on by. Yes, I'd rather you watch the whole video, but you do what you like. But anyways, so sometimes when you're a content, creator, you get every once in a while something like that being said, and you either have to just brush it off your back like I do, and sometimes try to understand it unless they're really mean, and then it's just like, y'all need to get a life or get your own channel. Sometimes that's what you want to say, but I don't like being that way, so I just delete it. But so anyways, we're going to make a blackberry cobbler. I'm going to get this going, and then we're going to make our homemade Lipton onion soup mix. Now, I think that when I went to look at my pantry, the only thing I didn't have to make it was celery seed. And it's not like you put a lot in it. So, but what I did have was celery salt. And I really don't like using the celery salt. Sometimes it can be too salty, but I'm going to put, I think, 1/4 of a teaspoon or something like that in it. So it shouldn't be too bad. You don't even add salt to this, so you don't have that extra salt. But anyways, and then I'm going to show you what flower seeds I got to plant. And then y'all get to see a little bit of what Mr. Brown's been doing in my cottage garden. And I'm so excited. I can't wait to get it all done. We got to work on it a few days, and then we got very busy with other stuff. And then the weather kind of changed, but we'll finish it this week probably. So anyways, y'all hang around with me. I'm going to get this done for him and his mama, and we'll make a blackberry cobbler. I've got a gallon of tame blackberries here, and I'm going to start out with just 5 cups of sugar. It takes a lot of sugar because these things are tart, and I'm going to put about 1 cup of water in there, and I'm going to turn it on low and cover it up and just let it simmer a while. So I'm going to let this simmer just a little bit, let them berries break down just a little bit, and then we'll thicken it. Now, the way I'm going to thicken mine is with some tapioca. Got a little bit, just about 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm going to put just a couple tablespoons of tapioca. You can also use cornstarch or arrowroot. Just make you a slurry and thicken your berries. I don't want mine real thick, but I'm just going to mix it up with this sugar, and we're going to put it in with the berries, and that should do the trick to thicken it up just right. So you can see how the berries have broke down. A lot of juice, and that's what Mr. Brown likes when it comes to cobblers. He likes the juice. So this is going to simmer a little bit, and it will thicken up a little. I don't want it real thick like a pie. You don't want that for a cobbler because you want a little bit of juice in there with that crust, and, you know, that juice put over that vanilla ice cream. That's why Mr. Brown likes it. So I'll just let this cook for probably about an hour. Hey, 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 Wallace. This is my Granddog. Now, don't make fun of his ears because he's pretty self-conscious about his bad ears. But we love him. Let's make our crust for our Blackberry Cobbler. This is a simple crust. And I want to make a double crust. A single crust, this would be about 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to be using 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm going to use a teaspoon of salt. I'm also, and this is optional in my pie crust, I like to put just a little bit of sugar, about 1 teaspoon, and just mix that up. I'm going to be using lard. You can use shortening. You can use half shortening and half butter if you want to. I'm going to be using 3/4 cup of lard. And it's cold. The lard is cold. I keep it in the refrigerator. So just like your butter, you'll want to keep your shortening and your lard cold for making pie crust. And I'm just going to cut this in with a pastry blender, or you can use a fork. Or you can even do this in your food processor. You just want to make sure that you get that shortening blended in good with your flour. Sometimes on different recipes, I'll make different pie crust. Sometimes I'll do the pie crust with the egg and the vinegar in it, which makes a really good flaky crust. But with this cobbler, I'm just doing the regular old-fashioned pie crust. This is the same pie crust that when I made cobblers at school in the big steam pans. It's the same recipe except we had to use shortening. And I remember it took about 10 pounds of all-purpose flour, and I think it was a 3-pound can of shortening to make enough pie crust for all the cobblers. Okay, I think that's cut in there pretty good. You want to use cold water. I'm going to start out putting about 4 tablespoons of cold water in here. And sometimes y'all really have to watch me because I do lose count. Sometimes. If your pie crust is not coming together, you might put a little bit more. It just depends on the day and how dry the house is, or the humidity, or how much, hydration you need for your. You don't want to put too much water because that will cause you to have a tough crust. So it's not all coming together, but it will come together. I've got plenty of water in here. I don't want to put too much. So as I gather it up, it'll all come together. I'm just going to dust my tabletop, just a little bit of flour. Go ahead and dump all that out there. You just want to bring that extra flour that was in that bowl, just bring it together with your crust. So that's good. Cut it in half. I'm going to put a bottom crust, and then I'm going to put a top crust, just like I would at school or any other time. Now, sometimes here at home, I'll just put a top crust, but today it's all about the crust today. I want some crust in this cobbler. And I kind of want it oblong instead of round because the shape of my pan that I'm making the cobbler in. I'm using an old enamel bakeware. It's this one right here. So it's almost long enough for it. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spray, I'm going to spray the bottom of my pan. You don't really have to, but I'm going to just for good measure, or I can put just a little bit of butter down the bottom and a little bit up the sides. We would make so many cobblers back in the day for the school kids because we got a lot of fruit in from commodities. So there was always either cobblers or some kind of fruit crisp always being made at least a couple times a week. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-bake this bottom crust just a little bit. That way I won't help from being a soggy crust. Also, another tip you can do is to get you a little bit of egg white and beat it up real good, and then kind of just put it over your crust, bake it a little bit, and that also helps to keep your bottom crust from getting soggy. Okay, I'm going to get this in the oven. I'm going to let this just cook to where it's not all the way done, just partially baked. I'm going to put a few little, I don't really worry about a cobbler crust bubbling up much, but we'll put just a few holes. Put it in the oven. Now, if you want to, you can make a lattice top. I just like putting another solid top on top of my cobbler. That's the way we would do it at school too, and you would get so much crust with every cut you made of that cobbler and every serving that you give the kids or the teachers, and I think they really enjoyed all that crust. Now, Mr. Brown, when it comes to cobblers, he likes the juice. The more juice, the better, and that's what we was talking about earlier. Is I didn't want it too thick, my filling too thick, just thick enough, because he really, really enjoys the juice part more than he does, piles of fruit. And that's with whether if it's a cobbler or dumplings, like blackberry dumplings, something like that. Now, if it's pies, of course you want it to be thicker. Okay, we're going to leave it at that. It don't have to be very big, just to cover the top. When we get it out, I will put my filling on top of the other crust, and we'll put this crust on top, and then we'll throw it in the oven. Okay, so I let it bake just about 5 minutes, probably not even that long, just kind of get it started there. Put our filling in. You can see how it did thicken up, but once this gets to baking, it's going to let off them juices again. It's going to get all juicied up again. That's why I say at the beginning, you don't want to get it too thick because it is going to set up. This is perfect for like putting on a biscuit or something. As it bakes, it's going to, like I said, put off some juices. So, okay. I went to put my pie crust on there and it kind of fell apart on me. The bottom crust was perfect. Anyways, we're going to take an egg wash and just go over the top of our cobbler, which is not going to be as pretty as what I hoped for because it fell apart on me before I got it over the cobbler. But it's not all about looks, it's about taste, ain't it? Sometimes that stuff happens. And it's usually when you're trying to film it, it's when it does. Oh, real life around here. Okay. I'm also going to sprinkle the top with a little bit of sugar. Okay, it's going to go in a 350 oven. I'm going to check it after about probably 20 minutes, and then I'll see how the pie crust looks.
Yummy.
Is it eatable?
Yes. It's good.
Not too sweet. A little bit tart, but blackberries are tart. I don't care what you do to them.
Oh, they're going to be tart.
But you mix it with that bluebell ice cream.
Ice cream
It'd
and
make anything
warm blackberry pie.
Bluebell ice cream makes anything taste good, don't it?
Pretty good stuff.
Enjoy.
I'm going.
He's got the oomy zoomies again today, y'all. Okay, let's make our Lipton onion soup mix. In here I've got 3/4 cup of dried minced onions or onion flakes. I've got a 1/3 cup of beef bouillon powder. I've got about a teaspoon of parsley. I've got 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of onion powder. I got 1/4 a teaspoon of celery seeds, 1/4 a teaspoon of granulated sugar, 1/4 a teaspoon of ground pepper, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of paprika. Now, if you want to, you don't have to put that much beef bouillon powder in that. If you don't want it too beefy, overpower your onion taste, you can leave some of the beef bouillon out. And this is a low sodium too. So, that's just up to you. How if you don't want it that beefy tasting, just put, this is 1/3 of a cup, you can just put half of that. But I kind of like it. I think it gives everything a good taste. Plus, you know, it's got 3/4 to 1 cup of the minced onions, dried onions in it. So it just has a good taste to it. The celery seeds, I didn't have any, so I used celery salt. But you notice that there's no salt in this recipe. So you just need to make sure that you stir it up good. If you don't want to do it this way, but you want to do it in a jar, which is usually the way I do it, you can mix it up really good by putting the lid on and just shaking the poo out of it. Okay, I've got this mixed up pretty good. Now, the way I'm going to put mine up this time is I'm going to put them in my little Ziploc bags instead of putting them in a mason jar like I usually do. And this stuff smells really, really good. And like I said, you can cut back on the beef bouillon if you want to, and maybe add a little bit more onion flake. That's just up to you. But you only need 1/4 a cup of this dry mixture, and that's equivalent. I'm going to put them in these baggies. that is equivalent to 1 package of store-bought Lipton onion soup mix. 1/4 cup to 1 package of store-bought Lipton onion soup mix. So I need to get my 1/4 a cup, and I'm just going to put 1/4 of a cup in each little baggie. Just separate it out like that. And when I need one, I'll just grab a little baggie and use it like I would store-bought. And I can reuse these baggies too the next time I make another batch. But usually when I do even this mix, I just do it in a mason jar and just get out what I need. But, I have got jars everywhere in my pantry. So I'm going to save a little bit of space by putting them in the baggies and labeling it. Mr. Brown's working so hard trying to put up a picket fence around my cottage garden, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to finish it. It's going to look so good. And on top of that, he's going to put me a little archway to come into the garden. Working so hard at it. It's going to be nice. And of course, Hank's always the supervisor of anything we're doing outside. Good old Hank. It's kind of a cloudy day, kind of cool today, but it feels really good being outside, getting some things done. Okay, we are out in the sunroom, and I wanted to show y'all some of the seeds that I ordered and got in. And I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that I'm going to start with this year. This is some of the newer flowers that I haven't planted in the past couple of years, because y'all know that I love my cutting flowers that I can go out, like my zinnias and cone flowers and you name it, all them beautiful cutting flowers that all of us have and love to put in our little cottage garden, or just out front in some kind of container, or maybe a big old garden full of them. And because we just love our flowers that much, it just brings us so much joy. And I just love going out there and putting my hands in the ground and just working, whether if it's flowers or vegetables, it doesn't matter. But I do honestly love my flowers. But anyways, besides my zinnias and all the usual things that I plant uh, every year, there were some that, let's see, some newer ones that I'm going to be planting. I just want to share that with y'all because maybe y'all might be interested in them too. And I love all the different colors. That way, when you go out, you want to go out and cut you some flowers, make you a pretty bouquet for that week. You got all these different colors to go with. And I usually buy, and of course, I've been saving my zinnia seeds too. And I do get a pretty good germination out of the seeds that I save. There was one year that I saved pretty much every zinnia seed that, I'd go and cut my zinnias and I'd bring in and I'd make me a bouquet. And when they would die off and I would dry them and I'd take, all the seeds. And all of them didn't germinate, of course. So I probably got about half a germination from seeds that I saved, but some of them did. Some of them did germinate. So I do save them, but I also buy some too, and I always buy them in bulk. Sometimes you can go to the farm stores around you and find them in bulk, or you can do it online. Amazon, there's different companies that go through Amazon that sell all kinds of good seeds and plants and stuff. So, back in 2020, 2021, my glasses are crooked, because we couldn't go anywhere. And I had to have my garden. And of course, I planted seeds and stuff, of course, but there were plants and stuff that I was wanting, but everything was in lockdown. So I went on Amazon and I found all these different companies that went through Amazon to sell their plants. And I did. I got some really nice plants. I paid a little more for them doing it that way, that's for sure. But at least I wasn't without my garden that year. And, I, I had to have my garden, especially going through all that in 2020 and 2021. So it was a good thing. So you can go online and you can buy plants. If you are not able to go and do like a lot of people do, you can order live plants. And there's a lot of good companies out there that will send them to you. And the thing of it is, they won't send them to you till they know it's time to plant. So they're real good about that, especially this company. Hoss. This is a really good company, y'all. I can remember when I watched them on YouTube when they first started their YouTube channel, and I've been following them ever since. And I've been buying seeds and plants from them, onion sets, and just different things from it. And I've always had very, very good germination, and my plants were always healthy and done so good. So, anyways, this is called a common milkweed, and I absolutely love, not for just my bees. Of course, we're always planting pollinators for our pollinators, our bees and our butterflies, and bees are far and in between right now, y'all. We lost our swarm of bees several years ago, and they ended up not coming back, and we never did find them. So we ended up just putting the beehive up. Um, so I'm not sure, but I'm thinking I'm probably going to get my brother-in-law. Um, he does bees, or used to, and I know he's got a lot of the bee stuff. So I might go back start with my bees again. But anyways, so we always planted stuff to help with the bees, the pollinators, but not only that, for the butterflies. And your bees are not your only pollinators. We have all kinds of wood bees up here that like to do damage to, of course, your house and your sheds and stuff if there's any kind of wood to be found. And then we have wasps and just different kinds of wasps, and they also pollinate. So we have to think about that stuff too. So anymore, when I see, a wasp or a different kind of bee, and I'm like, kill it, I don't do that. No, I just let them go because they are pollinators too. So the common milkweed is butterflies absolutely love milkweed, y'all. So that's called a common milkweed. And then this one here is a pretty pink too, and it's called a swamp milkweed. So I'll be planting that for the pollinators, the beautiful butterflies. Here is, I love these beautiful sweet peas. I know some of y'all do too. This is called a Royal Family Mix Sweet Pea. And I think I'm going to trellis these. And they're just so pretty. I love sweet peas. They're just, especially, your cottage garden, you're always going to find sweet peas in your cottage gardens. And I tell you, I probably ain't going to pronounce half of these flowers right. So I just apologize. But these are pretty. Let me look on the back. Aurora Blue Delphinum, and y'all can probably pronounce this for me. But these are pretty. Aurora Blue Delphinium. Delphinium? But aren't they pretty? So that's a new one for me in my cottage garden. And of course, gold yarrow. I had to get some of that. Some more. This is a Gypsy White Improved Baby's Breath. I love to plant a little bit of baby's breath just to have. I think it looks pretty out in the garden, but for your bouquets and stuff that you bring in for your table, I think they look really pretty. So this is a Double Dutch Rose Cosmos. Do y'all like cosmos? I do. I think they're so pretty in the different colors. I've never had this color, and it's such a sweet, delicate pink color. So if you've never ordered any seeds or plants from Haas, just go to their website, and I'll put that link down below too. I don't get any commission or nothing off of it. It's just, you know, I buy their seeds. I'll have for a long time, and I just want to share it with you. So, okay, this is Chief Persimmon Cilicia. Yeah, right. I'll show it to you, but it's beautiful. I think it'd be pretty as a cut flower too. I hope y'all can see that. Maybe y'all can pronounce it better than I can. This old country girl, I'm telling you. Isn't that a pretty flower though? It's going to be pretty when mixed with the different bouquets and stuff. Now I will be starting these seeds probably today or tomorrow. I've been saving. Well, I've had people saving milk jugs for me and their egg cartons and all that stuff. And I'm going to be starting the seeds. This is a different kind of sunflower. This is a Vincent's Choice DMR sunflower. So it's just a different breed of sunflower that I'm going to try. I think they're very pretty. I like all the pretty delicate petals that's on them. Have you ever just looked at all the different sunflowers? Not just the colors, but the shape of the petals and even the center where the sunflower seeds are. There's so many of them. They're so pretty. Okay, that's the new ones that I've never planted before, and I just want to show them to you. Like I said, besides my zinnias and all my usuals that I plant. This right here is a king size red straw flower, and don't have a picture on it. So I'm going to find a picture and I'll try to put it right here where y'all can see it if I can find a picture of it. Maybe y'all know what it looks like already, but I've never planted any of these. So I thought that would be beautiful too. Now, some of the other seeds that I did get, oh, and this right here, we'll be planting clover. This is from Haas, and this is a yellow blossom sweet clover. It's a pound. And we will be planting this for the bees. Bees love clover, and this is a yellow blossom. So, you know, if my beehives were going and still and doing well, and it would, I'm sorry, I'm touching my thing right there. I might, it's on my neck. But anyways, they would love this clover. So I'm hoping to maybe, you know, bees that come in. And the thing with it is, there could be a beehive. Somebody's got beehives, you know, 2 miles away, a mile away, and they'll come here, you know, and get on my clover. And they'll go back there and and give that family their good honey. But I'm just saying, bees will leave their hives, and y'all know this that have bees, and they'll travel a long ways, you know, to certain clover and flowers and stuff. I mean, you can plant all the pollinator plants and flowers you want right close to your bees. And I'm not saying they don't go to them, because they do, but they will also leave and travel a mile or so, even farther, to different plants. I planted these, let's see, about 2 or 3 years ago, and I absolutely loved this pumpkin. As far as making pies or anything with, this probably has become my favorite one. Besides butternut squash, this is my favorite. It's Long Island cheese pumpkin. And the first time I planted it, I thought, this is my go-to pumpkin anymore. I loved it. And actually, they done really well in my area up here in the hills of Arkansas. I mean, sometimes you can plant this stuff and in your area, it just doesn't do as good as other areas. But this one did. It done very well, and I got several pumpkins out of it. This is just different. Let's see. This is the wee bee little pumpkin, and I love these little pumpkins, especially for pumpkin pie, but I think they're so sweet too. And I'm mainly doing this for the grandkids, but these make really good pumpkin pies too, or pumpkin bread. And they just look so sweet growing out in your garden. I just think they're really neat. And of course, I always plant celery, and I need to get these started right now. This is a different kind of celery than what I'm used to. I usually plant the Utah, and this is a Moringo F1 hybrid celery, and I'm going to try it this year to see if maybe it does really well in my area. I use celery. I use a lot of celery, and we also eat it too. But I do have some more seeds in here just to give you an idea. Now, it's not everything I'm going to plant. Like my green beans and stuff, I've got all that stuff out in the greenhouse. I like to plant stringless bush beans, and it's usually Kentucky Wonder or something like that. And I am going to be planting sweet peas, of course. And I picked these up at Walmart the other day. The Cascadia Sugar Snap. And I got several of these. But, you know, you can I could go ahead and plant these inside and just get the plant started. But I have pretty good luck when I wait for the ground to be warm enough. And that's the whole thing. You can go out there right now and plant all the sage you want. They're not going to do nothing because the ground is, you know, it's not even probably above even 40 degrees. I'm sure it's, especially this morning. I don't know what it is. It's so cold outside. But nothing's going to grow and nothing's going to germinate when the ground's not warm enough. So I'm not sure if I'll go ahead and plant them inside or if I'll just wait and, you know, plant them in the ground because I do have good luck with it. Oh, here's another flower from Haas. This is a king size orange straw flower. And this was another color that I don't have much of in my garden. So it's a pretty orange. Another straw flower. Let's see what I've got here. I've got some beets. These are early wonder beets, and these will be planted pretty soon. I know some states they probably have already planted them, but that's because maybe their soil is warmer than ours is right now up here in Arkansas because our soil it's not warm enough, y'all, to be planting seeds out in it. But the beets will be planted pretty soon. Let's see, I got spinach. I need to plant some more spinach. And that'll be pretty soon too because spinach likes cooler weather. And even on into summer until it really the sun starts beating down. Usually spinach does pretty good. And I usually cover all my spinach and lettuces up with a cover that you cover your plants up to keep the sun off where they're just not beating down on them. This is a red Reuben basil. They're so pretty. And some of these herbs and stuff, this year I'm going to be planting and putting, you know, some out here just where I can walk outside and get it when I need it. Here's a gourmet blend lettuce. Some of the lettuces that I'm going to be planting. I got several packs of lettuces and spinach. I'm going to start these right now. This is my tomatillos. I love to plant tomatillos and make salsa verde. So I got several patches of these. That's some more beets. My chives. I love chives. And not only do I love chives, I think they're so pretty when they're growing out in your garden. They bring such, I don't know, they just look so pretty out there growing. Not just the colors, but the shape. So I like to have several chives growing just for looks, not just for eating. This is a different color. This is a Dolores chive. It's a different color. Pretty. My tomatoes, I'm not doing all kinds of different kinds of tomatoes. Last year, I calmed myself down a little bit and I said, Lori, you're only going to plant one kind of tomato. You're not going to do all these different kinds and them not do very well. I can remember my grandparents, they planted one kind Well, I'm not going to say probably two, because I remember they would plant celebrities, and they would plant either early girl or better boys. That was the only tomatoes you ever seen in my grandparents' garden. And they grew the pooey out tomatoes. And so last year I done the same thing. And my tomatoes done a lot better. They just really provided us with a lot of tomatoes than the years where I just got a little bit crazy thinking that I had to have all these different kinds of tomatoes. What was the difference? I don't know. But my tomatoes done really good last year. And I wasn't stressed out on all the different kinds of different breeds of tomatoes and having to, baby this kind and this one, doing well. They all just done well. I am going to plant some Romas. That's another. Let's see. And I do have to get them started this week too. This is a super sweet 100 hybrid. I love salad tomatoes. I love little cherry tomatoes. And if I had to be without one or the other, it's hard to say because I love a big old sliced tomato, especially on a bacon sandwich. And of course, I love making spaghetti sauce and all that stuff. But I love my cherry tomatoes. I'll just go out to the garden when I'm working, and I'll eat them till I'm almost sick of them. And they always do good up here in Arkansas. For some reason, these little tomatoes done so good. These are super sweet 100. I guess y'all seen that. Some more chives. And I got to start some more Swiss chard. So I got some more Swiss chard. These are just from Walmart. No, these might, well, they either come from Walmart or Tractor, the farm store, one or the other. I don't remember. Some more of them chives. Should have plenty of them, but they're just so pretty growing. Okay, this is a giant pink Belgium. I haven't planted these or tried these yet, but I'm going to this year. And I've got to get these started too. I need to just leave these out right now because I've got to get them seeds started. This one right here is a black creme. And I think I remember planting these before, and I don't remember if I didn't replant them because I didn't have good luck with them. I don't know. I'm probably going to start me a few plants though, and I may plant these out back in the back garden and plant the others in the front garden. That way they don't kind of cross each other. And that's my Romas. So anyways, I need to get my tomato started. The one thing you don't see that, of course, I'll be planting is my green beans, of course, squash. And that I don't even worry about squash till it really starts warming up, because squash here in the hills doesn't even start growing good till even summertime. I mean, you can plant them in the spring and they're going to sit there for a while until it really starts warming up. So I don't get in a big hurry with my squash or my zucchini. And I usually just plant it in the ground. I don't start the seeds for those. I don't think I'm going to start any broccoli to plant. I'm going to wait till fall. I think my fall broccoli does so much better and tastes better going into the winter. The only other thing that I need to do is start some cabbage plants. So I didn't have those in here, but I've got several different kinds of varieties, and I haven't chose which one probably I'm going to go ahead and plant, but I need to get them started too. So that's probably about it right now. I'm not, of course, our seed potatoes. I've got seed potatoes that's not in the ground yet. And a lot of people go ahead and plant them early February. We don't here because it doesn't do any good. They just lay there. Besides that, when we got that snow and sleet and stuff, the ground that deep was froze. So, anyways, hopefully we won't have any rot if we wait a little bit. And that's the way we've been doing it the last several years, is we've been waiting to plant our potatoes, and they've done a lot better. We've not had a bunch of them rot or get any kind of diseases or anything like that. Oh, we're always all in a hurry trying to get things in the ground and get things started. And believe me, I understand it. But sometimes I have to have a little patience and I have to say, hang on just a little bit. The weather needs to be right. The ground needs to be at a certain temp, and things will just thrive better. So I am going to plant some more blackberry. I've got a friend from church that's going to give me some more blackberry starts, some plants. I've got them started in the back garden, going along the back fence. Um, I don't know if I'll plant any more strawberries this year or not. I don't do good with strawberries up here, so I just get enough just for a handful here and there to eat. I still grow them, but not. Oh, cauliflower. I haven't grown any cauliflower the last couple of years. You know, the first couple of years that we lived here on this hill, I grew some of the prettiest cauliflowers, and ever since then, not too good. I don't know. Maybe it's the seeds I'm buying, but they've not done as good as in the past. So, and I usually done that in the fall, anyways, into the winter. So, um, that's pretty much it. I'm sure there's something that I'm leaving out, but I did grow cantaloupe that done really well in my front garden last year. You know, this year could be a flop. Who knows? But I will be planting some kind of cantaloupe or a honeydew, one or the other. So that'll be something later on because they don't really do good until summer, anyways. Oh, my bell peppers. I saved seeds from my bell peppers for this year. I'm going to get them started too with my tomatoes. But I can tell you something about bell peppers here in my area, and it's probably different in your area. They don't really take off and produce and do really good until about August into the fall. That's when we get most of our bell peppers. And this year it was the same way. Um, they just started producing a lot better as the summer goes on, and then they just kept producing on into cooler weather until, well, frost got them. That's the only reason they quit producing. Because I can tell you, them bell pepper plants had a ton of blossoms on them, but I knew they weren't going to make nothing because I knew that frost was coming. And I come close to digging one up, putting it, either in the house or out in the uh, greenhouse. But even the greenhouse, when it gets below freezing, everything will die in there. So hopefully one year I might have a little bit of heat in there. But anyways, I just want to show y'all some of the newer flowers I'll be planting this year. Maybe give y'all some ideas. And I'm going to get started on some of the seeds because it's time. Okay, y'all. Y'all been wondering if I had picked out my colors to my cabinet yet. And yes, I have. Um, It was a long, hard decision, though, y'all. I went back and forth on the colors. Not sure if I'm going to even like it when I get it done, but I think I am. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of sanding, and I've got me a little paint scraper. I've got to scrape off a little bit of paint on the sides, and but I'm going to show you the color. And on top of that, I found me some peel and stick wallpaper that I'm going to put back here on the very back in here, along the back of the cabinet. So doing that, I'll have to kind of rearrange my dishes and stuff so you'll even be able to see it. But I really think it's going to look good when I get it done. You can see that cabinet there is, I'll have to find the color on it. It's a mustard color. You can't really tell that from the, when you look at it through the camera. And I do have that mustard color throughout the kitchen. Plus I have a colonial, I forget the name of it. It's a primitive brick red is what it is on some of my cabinets. And of course, on the camera it looks kind of brown, but it's not. It's a brick red. But I've also got some sage green here and there. And that was one of the colors that I really thought about. But I went back and forth with it, y'all. So I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. But I'm going to show you the color that I picked out. And then I'm going to show you this peel and stick wallpaper that I found online from Walmart, and I absolutely love it. And they have so many different patterns and stuff. I didn't even know Walmart carried it, but I absolutely love it, and I think it's going to look good on the back, inside, on the back part of my cabinets. So let me show you what it looks like. Okay, this is the peel and stick wallpaper. I just got one row. That should be plenty to do the very back there. Like I said, I'll have to rearrange my dishes and stuff to where you'll even be able to see it. I've just got dishes crammed in there everywhere. But I'm going to redo all that though. So it'll look totally different. And of course, whoever painted it the first time, I didn't do it. I bought it like this, but I never fixed it because I wasn't sure what color I was going to paint it. You can see it's still got the old knobs on it and everything. So anyways, and this down here is very good storage. I store a lot of my wheat berries and stuff like that down there. It's pretty good size in there. So anyways, I will have some sanding and different things I need to do before I do paint it. But look at, I just think this is so pretty. If I don't forget, I'll put the link, if I can find the link to this. Like I said, it's just from Walmart. And I think it's really nice. What do y'all think? It's supposed to be really easy to put up to use. I used this peel and stick wallpaper on my daughter's one whole wall in her bedroom. And it was pretty easy to use. And when I got done, the pattern was a real pretty dark boho looking print, which her bedroom was done in that, and it looked really nice when I got it done. The wallpaper was not perfect because the walls were not exactly square, but it's really easy stuff to put up. So walmart.com peel and stick wallpaper. Like I said, I had no idea they had such pretty prints. So I don't know when I'm going to get around. I've got lots to do the next couple of weeks. Maybe I can get started on it. We'll see. Psalm 128, 1 and 2. Blessed is everyone that feareth the Lord, that walketh in his ways. For thou shalt eat the labor of thine hands. Happy shalt thou be, and it shall be well with thee. God bless everybody. We'll see y'all in a few days.